So every like maybe 3-4 months or so, I get this like slap in the face of reality. I have to remember how powerful Sage Naruto is. And there's a specific group of people who I think that when you put people up against them, it's a lot more interesting than the one people like to put everybody up against, which is the Akatsuki. And I think the Sannin versus Sage Naruto is a much more interesting matchup than Sage Naruto versus the Akatsuki would ever be, even though, you know, he already fought Pain and lost. Anyway, Swag's here.
Yeah, my bad. I was trying to keep the reveal a surprise, but I couldn't not laugh at that.
But yeah, okay.
There's no way people think Sage Naruto could fight the whole Akatsuki, bro.
I mean, he might. Anyway, so Sage Naruto versus the Sannin. When I first like came to it with Swag, I had the idea that, okay, this is pretty straightforward. Easy video, Sage Naruto just slaps and we're out of there. By the way, we're talking about Pain arc, Sage Naruto, obviously. Not War arc, at least not here at the beginning. We might go over that later. But then we started talking about it, and the battle is just far more complicated than I could ever have imagined. So one thing I wasn't considering when I first looked at it, there's a statement in the second data book that just says whenever the Sannin fight together, their skills get increased by 3 times over. And that's already just insane, because then at that point it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to scale them, because, you know, they fight individually and whatnot. But I mean, I guess talking about them fighting individually first and then, you know, just adding them as a team later on.
Yeah, it's definitely an easier approach, right? Because I think everybody will be able to engage with the question of could Naruto beat them at the same time a lot more easily if they know where we stand on how he would do against them individually, and also if they know how he stacks up against them individually. Now, we talked about this a fair bit before the video. We're going to try to keep this analysis as fair as possible, right? Because even though we have our own interpretations and, you know, like opinions about the stuff that's in the manga and the data books, whatever, we both recognize that there are plenty of different ways that you can interpret some of these things. So we'll just lay out all the information and like we'll say what we think. You guys are free to interpret it however you want, and depending on what you think about some of the pieces of information, I guess that'll inform how you think Naruto performs here. Having said all that, moving past that first disclaimer, Jiraiya is just ass. Like, he just doesn't beat Sage Naruto. There's no reality. There's like no way you can slice up what's shown. There's no way you can present the information that makes Jiraiya seem stronger than Naruto. And I think like there's like some obscure stuff too that I hadn't even thought about that Six showed me here that like makes it even more blatant.
Yeah.
The more you compare the two of them, the more obvious I think it becomes that Sage Naruto is like way stronger than he is.
You really have to bank hard on that statement that Pain makes where he says that, oh, if he knew the secret, we probably couldn't have won, which you can interpret that statement multiple ways. First of which being that, well, if Jiraiya knew the secret of Pain to begin with, then maybe he would have just left and told everyone or something like that.
Or he could have gone to the tower where Nagato was and just like killed Nagato, you know, without the paths of Pain. Or Pain could have been like, oh, well, I couldn't use my full power because I don't want to damage the Rain Village. Like a million different ways that you can interpret that statement.
So the way I think about it, I think what Pain is talking about is the fact that he had 3 extra bodies aside from the ones he had already sent to fight Jiraiya. So that if the other bodies were there, obviously they would have got caught in Frog Song too, and then all the Pains would have been defeated. But that's Jiraiya with Frog Song. Obviously, Sage Naruto is going to have a counter of his own Frog Song because him and he has Ma and Pa. But I
so like this is something weird about it. Like they would just both have Ma and Pa in the fight. Yeah. Like it's like, you know, when you pick like Itachi and then pick like EMS Sasuke, in Storm 4. Like the fight can't happen because it's like, you know, both sets of Sharingan can't exist, but it's just a hypothetical. So they both have Monpaw. And Naruto would be able to cancel Frog Song if Jiraiya tried to cast it. Also, I think Naruto is just so much faster and stronger than Jiraiya that Jiraiya wouldn't even get to use it.
Yeah, and we can get to the scaling on that in a minute. But another thing too with Frog Song is that Naruto has Ma and Pa who are more willing to do the jutsu than Jiraiya's Ma and Pa are. Because when the idea first gets brought up, Ma's like, no, I don't want to sing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But then they were planning to do it against Pain the second time. So they're just more willing to do it for Naruto than they are for Jiraiya. So the Frog Song out of the equation. Now,
another thing too, just since this only got brought up because of the Pain statement. However you want to interpret it, it cannot possibly mean that Pain, all 6 paths together, are weaker than Sage Jiraiya. There's just no way. Like I said, I am not trying to say that, like, you know, my own opinion of what the text says, you know, supersedes any other opinion. But I legit can't, like, I've yet to see a compelling argument for it, and I've been, you know, like, looking at Naruto shit for like 6 years now. You know, like, and I mean, I've really looked, right, because people bring this statement up all the time, but it's like Naruto does better against Pain. His Sage mode is more advanced. Okay, so let's take one direct comparison, right? So, granted, Jiraiya is off guard when this happens, but Jiraiya gets his arm just ripped off by the Asura Pain, right? Just like one attack, he's missing an arm afterwards. Yeah. Then
whether it was a punch or an explosion, doesn't matter. His arm was ripped.
Yeah. Then later, Naruto sees the same Path of Pain start charging at Tsunade and just blows it up with one punch, just blitzes it, right? Yeah. So, like, you know, but I think a much better comparison, because again, you can fall back on, oh well, Jiraiya was just off guard there, that doesn't count. Which that's kind of, that might even be a defeater to
that works in Sage Naruto's favor, though. I'll let you finish, but I'll explain how that just kind of works in Naruto's favor.
But a much better point of comparison is the Preta path, which Six just pointed this out to me before the video. But if you look very closely, when Jiraiya first uses the massive Rasengan against the Preta path, he doesn't immediately start absorbing it and actually catches the massive Rasengan with both hands. So he's just like tanking it at first, and then Naruto beats the Preta path with one punch.
Yes, literally one punch. He's out. Didn't he need to get revived by Naraka after that punch? So
yeah, he literally had to get he had to get rejuvenated by the Naraka path. He was basically killed. And like the frog kata is literally just like, it takes your normal taijutsu and like extends the range, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, we're talking about Jiraiya's massive Rasengan.
Maximum output of chakra, by the way. Yeah. This is Jiraiya's absolute strongest attack, and the Preta path not only tanked it, but then absorbed it, and Naruto just one-shot it. Now, aside from that, when Swag was talking about the Asura path earlier and how Jiraiya was off guard, if Jiraiya's in Sage mode, keep that in mind. That means imperfect Sage mode does not have the danger sensory that normal Sage mode provides users, because he punched Sage Jiraiya's arm off. So that actually just works in Sage Naruto's favor. And then on top of that, you have, you know, the Master Rasengan thing, the fact that it's just part of the narrative.
That is so crazy, by the way.
Yeah, the Master Rasengan one is really the slam dunk. Like,
yeah. Like it's so blatant too. Like, seriously, I was gonna say go look. The page will probably be up on the screen. Yeah, but like just look at the page right now. Like, you can, like, there's really clear, like, you can see like the indentations or like the lines or whatever where he's like catching it, you know, and it's like the boom sound effect, like it's hitting him, not like it's like like getting absorbed. You know?
What was that?
You know, like the noise
No,
or that the Preda path makes when it absorbs jutsu.
it does not make that noise.
Nah, it goes like.
Anyway, but yeah, that's really the slam dunk. But then on top of that, you have like it's the entire narrative of Naruto learning Sage Mode and getting the better Sage Mode than Jiraiya to surpass Jiraiya and beat someone Jiraiya could not beat.
Yeah.
Like that's just the whole point of that story. So I mean,
Now, granted, Naruto does still lose. He has to get help
Yeah.
from Minato, but he performs so much better than Jiraiya does. Like Jiraiya looks at the animal path, the human path, and the Preda path, and he's just like, I can't fight these three. They're gonna kill me.
oh yeah, I
have to
forgot
figure
about
out
that
something.
one.
Yeah, like he literally, like, that's exactly what he says. He's just like, if I keep fighting them, I'll be killed. And I'm pretty sure that's when he leads them into the building to use Frog Song against them, right?
Yeah, that's exactly when he does it.
So like he straight up admits he can't beat them in a fair fight and has to use hacks. And then Naruto just like overpowers all of them, like blatantly. Like he beats the animal path summons and then beats the animal path. He one-shots the Preda path, and the human path gets like no diff by a Rasen Shuriken.
Yeah, and then on top of that, Jiraiya's fighting weak paths. He's fighting Preda, animal, and human.
Like like again, like Naruto fights all three of those paths of pain with other paths of pain also present and beats them.
As far as Jiraiya goes, I think we made it pretty clear that Jiraiya by himself or with Manpa is not touching Naruto. He's not at that level. Oh, and oh my god, Pa says Naruto surpassed his predecessors.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, I forgot about that, but that's also pretty blatant.
Jiraiya is not up there.
If you really, really, truly believe that Six and I are missing something with that like pain statement, I mean, all right, man, sure. If you think that that like overrides and negates all of these other examples, I guess more power to you. But as far as I can tell, literally everything in the narrative points to Sage Naruto being stronger than Sage Jiraiya. And that's not even getting into how like in a fight, Naruto just has easier access to Sage Mode than Jiraiya, who takes like a bajillion years to enter it. But, you know, like we don't even have to go there, right? Like we can just say they both start in Sage Mode.
Yeah.
And Naruto still has an overwhelming advantage.
And I hope people don't think that like base Jiraiya would beat Sage Naruto at all. That's completely unfair. You got like Sage Naruto's clearly beating his four-tail self. If you want like an example of this, Sage Naruto literally strikes a chakra rod and breaks it. The best the Four Tails does to the chakra rods in the manga is pop them out of its skin. That's it. So
yeah,
Sage Naruto is stronger than the Four Tails, and the Four Tails, you know what he did to Jiraiya. Second time he was that close to death, by the way.
Yeah.
But I guess the next one we could talk about is, you want to talk about Tsunade or Orochimaru?
It's up to you. I'll let you pick.
Let's just go with Tsunade. Tsunade is pretty simple.
So Tsunade, now this is gonna make people mad. People never like hearing this. But Jiraiya is the weakest of the Sannin, in my opinion.
No.
And the reason I say that is because, well, I mean, most people agreed that like it's fair. I should say most people agree that it's at least fair to consider Orochimaru the strongest Sannin. Like people aren't gonna look at you weird if you say that. People will just be like, oh, you know, well, I get what you say that, but I disagree. I think it's Jiraiya, right? Yeah. But like a lot of people don't seem to think that like Jiraiya is weaker than Tsunade. Most people seem to think that she's the weakest. But the thing is, Jiraiya did not fight Madara ever. He did not fight anyone close to as strong as Madara, and like Tsunade does a really good job in that fight. Like
the best job.
Yeah, I was about to say she is the only one who is like actually like damaging him, like significantly, I should say. She straight up punches through his wood clone. Okay. Mm-hmm. she like breaks open his Susanoo. She tanks hits from his Susanoo, like keeps fighting while his Susanoo blade is like stuck. It's like she's impaled by it and she doesn't care. She just keeps fighting him. And you know, Jiraiya's getting his whole like body mutilated by punches from the syrup pack. So like Tsunade, maybe you could say like she got stronger in the war arc. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think that, so I had a different outlook on this before, but Six told me that I was probably wrong about this, and I think I agree with him now. But I thought that Tsunade would have actually been stronger in the Pain arc because she would have had more chakra in her Byakugo than in the war arc. Yeah. But like Six told me that the Byakugo just has like a set max chakra and then it activates, and I think I actually agree with that now.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't think that it's like unreasonable for anybody to think that. But what I will say is there's no actual like evidence that she got stronger between the Pain arc and the war arc, right? And she was in a coma for like the early like developing stage, like the pre-war period of the war arc. So she didn't really have time to train. And I'm pretty sure like immediately after she woke up, she just got to like planning and, you know, doing a bunch of like desk work and like tactical work for the Allied Shinobi forces to make sure that everything was in order. I don't think
after she started eating and whatnot. Yeah. She had to eat to get her chakra back, remember?
Yeah, so she didn't have time to like train and stuff, right? So maybe she was stronger when she fought Madara, but it would be marginally at best. Dix thinks that she had like a mental amp or something, and I don't think that I agree with it. But if you think that she, well, here, I'll let you explain that before I keep going.
So there's basically this thing called the Will of Fire. Hiruzen explains it in part 1. It's something that all Konoha Shinobi have. It's just that in the middle of a desperate battle, you're going to become as strong as you are normally, or you can basically draw out your full strength or true strength whenever you're in the midst of a desperate battle or protecting something precious to you. And Tsunade just mentions that her true power lies in the Will of Fire, and then that's when she starts attacking Madara, doing noticeably a lot better. And it's also the first time in the manga, at least, that we see that she uses the 100 healings in combat to actually amp herself or whatever she's doing. Now there is, I think it's a novel. I'm not saying the novels are canon, by the way. Just mentioning that this is out there. That says that when Tsunade is punching, she's actually breaking her bones, but the 100 healing is just healing her so fast it really doesn't matter. But yeah, I basically just think that Tsunade was mental amped through that. But I don't know, maybe she would, you could even argue maybe she would get the same type of mental amp in this fight, considering she has other teammates to protect, just like she was against the 5 Kage. But I just thought I wanted to mention it.
Another thing too is that you could also maybe argue that Jiraiya would have gotten a Will of Fire amp against Pain too, since, you know, maybe that's what came through when he killed the Animal Path. Who knows? Because he was trying to make sure everybody at least had the intel they needed not to get completely wiped out by Pain. So, like,
the databook does say that Jiraiya like hardened his resolve on that first kick when he kicked the Human Path, knocked out his eyes. It does say he hardened his resolve for that. So
I don't think it's like bulletproof. That like I think that like I get what Six is saying. Maybe you agree with it. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a defeater for the idea that Tsunade is stronger than Jiraiya. But I think that what we can all agree, regardless of how you interpret that statement, is that these are better feats than Jiraiya has. Like, by miles. Like, Jiraiya can't compare to this at all. Like, so if go ahead.
The Predator Path, like tanking the Master Rasengan, that's the same thing Madara Susanoo would do, and Tsunade just kicked it.
Yeah.
So
Tsunade is stronger than Jiraiya, and if we use these as like the basis for Tsunade's, like the version of Tsunade we would be putting Naruto up against, Pain Arc Naruto, I don't actually think would win. But if we use War Arc Naruto, it's a different story. And I think that this is a little bit weird, too, because it's like, I don't know if it's fair to use these War Arc feats, like when we're talking about Pain Arc Naruto. But like I already said earlier, it doesn't seem like Tsunade would have gotten that much stronger between the Pain Arc and now. So I don't know where to draw like the cutoff point, but I think that Tsunade actually. Okay, look, I'm gonna get in trouble for this.
Oh no!
Don't get mad at Six because he's not the one saying this. But in the Madara fight, at that point, Tsunade definitely was the strongest member of the Sannin, like based on feats.
Okay, yeah. No, I agree.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So my issue with this Tsunade thing kind of comes in whenever we start talking about speed, because okay,
Sage Naruto is faster than her, even in the pain fight, I think.
And that's really all I care about, because if Sage Naruto is faster than her, and then on top of that he's got like the precognition or whatever, then I think that's enough. Because I mean, all he has to do is get out the way of Tsunade. Like,
I think that's definitely a fair way to approach the fight. And so what I will say is that I think if Naruto gets hit by one of these like Susanoo shattering punches, he's probably dead.
He's dead.
Yeah, but like I think that there's a strong case to be made that he just wouldn't get hit by any of these punches.
Right.
Now, scaling him to the rest of the series is like weird because Pain's only real opponents are like people who just get way stronger in the coming arcs. So it's hard to scale Sage Naruto here to like the Raikage or like Onoki or whatever. But one way you can do it is and now I don't necessarily agree with this, but Obito seems to think that Sage Naruto is stronger than Sasuke at the very beginning of the Kage Summit arc, like before the Kage Summit starts and before any of the fights begin.
Yeah, the one who's like stronger than the one who set B on fire or whatever.
Yeah. However, I think that Sasuke does get stronger over the course of the Kage Summit arc. So, like,
you literally can't disagree with that.
Yeah, like his Susanoo is developing, you know, Karin's saying like his hatred is getting stronger, and so it's like, you know, chakra is getting more intense and stuff like that. Now, the thing is, the Raikage fight happens at the beginning, so I don't know how much stronger he got between when he tagged the Raikage with his Chidori and when Obito said that about him. But if Naruto was still stronger than Sasuke when, you know, he tagged the Raikage with his Chidori, then Naruto should be around as fast as the Raikage in Sage mode, and that would make him faster than Tsunade, obviously. Now, the thing is, like, I don't know, because it's like, Naruto seems to only surpass the Raikage when he gets KCM.
Yeah, that's what I agree with. It's like a big
triumphant moment.
Yeah.
So he probably is, he's definitely not faster than the Raikage's full speed. Maybe his, like, comfortable like V1 like suppressed combat speed that he's using at the beginning of the fight with Sasuke, but not like full power Raikage.
So it's important to mention this as well. When you talk about the Raikage and his lightning cloak, when you say V1 and V2, those are fan terms, right? Like me and Swag used them to, you know, just so you know which version we're talking about, but there is no V1, V2. It's the V1 we refer to, quote unquote, is just the Raikage holding back the lightning cloak to some unknown extent, and then there's a threshold where his chakra or his hair just spikes up.
Yeah,
but yeah, there is no V1 and V2. So when Naruto, Casey and when Naruto is struggling to get past the Raikage, there's a few interpretations of this. There's mainly the one people like to go with nowadays is the fact that Naruto just actually got stronger while going up against the Raikage, or got faster and was able to get past them. I know a lot of people used to think Naruto was just holding back, and then there was another argument that Naruto was mental amped, but it doesn't make sense to the narrative for Naruto to just be mental amped there, because if he was just mental amped there and this is supposed to be his test to enter the war,
that would be like really weird.
Yeah, it would be redundant. The Raikage wouldn't let him go. It's just like, that would be bad story writing in general. So Naruto probably just got stronger there. And obviously the whole thing surrounding KCM1, kind of the whole time he has it, is its speed. Like Tsunade is surprised that KCM1 Naruto can even keep up with V1 Raikage to begin with. And then it was obviously, you know, when he speed blitzed Kisame, they were like, oh, he used teleportation ninjutsu, like the yellow flash, something like that.
Yeah.
KCM1 is basically just focused on speed. So I think it would be weird if Pain Arc Naruto was faster than KCM1 Naruto. So I don't really think he scales to the Raikage, but it doesn't really matter too much to the whole like Sannin tier people. The Sannin are just, you know, they might be stronger than Raikage. They shouldn't be faster. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with that. There is this like myth that's been perpetuated throughout the community that like it works like Dragon Ball, where like speed and power go up concurrently in Naruto. And that is just not the case. There are people who have like higher stat bars in one stat than another, like all over the place. The Raikage is a speedster, like that's his whole thing. So him being faster than Tsunade isn't a big deal. I think that the most direct form of scaling for Naruto to Tsunade, but it's weird because she's out of chakra here. It's more of a narrative argument, is that when the Asura Path like lunges at Tsunade, Naruto blitzes it like no difficulty. But Tsunade's out of chakra, so I think like in a debate setting, if you were trying to scale Naruto over Tsunade, it would be really hard to use this. But I think that Kishimoto is clearly trying to convey with this scene that Naruto has surpassed Tsunade and like the Sannin and is able to like protect them the same way they would have protected him back in part 1, right? Like I think that's the whole like narrative goal here. So this is a weird roundabout way to argue that Naruto would be faster than Tsunade, but he probably is. I mean, his reaction time definitely should be fast enough to like avoid her attacks and stuff.
And then I guess I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning. One of Sage Naruto's biggest weaknesses, after this we can start talking about Orochimaru, but yeah, one of Sage Naruto's biggest weaknesses, in the Pain arc anyway, is the fact that he has this time limit on his Sage mode. He can only use 2 Rasen Shurikens, right? 2?
Yeah, it's 2.
He can only use 2 Rasen Shurikens. This Sage mode runs out fairly quickly. So we did think it would be fair, since it is Pain Arc Naruto, to just give him the backup clones, considering that he just kind of has them anyway. So if his Sage mode runs out, obviously he can replenish it. But then we can start talking about Orochimaru now.
So let's just say, for the like our conclusive stance about Tsunade, is it's a little bit unclear. We both think that he's probably faster than her, but she hits harder than him and has like the regen hacks. So I think the fight's a lot more interesting than Naruto versus Jiraiya, but I would probably give it to Naruto ultimately.
Yeah, like a Rasen Shuriken, it's just taking Tsunade down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to start talking about Orochimaru, we're not talking about Orochimaru from part 1, because Orochimaru from part 1 should be weaker than Sage Jiraiya. At least that's what I think, because Data Book 1 directly compares base Jiraiya and Orochimaru to one another, just says they're on par with one another. And then
the most charitable you can be to Orochimaru there is to say that he's equal to Sage Jiraiya.
Either way, like we're not using part 1 Orochimaru, but the best you can get him is to say that he is equal to or relative to whatever Sage Mode Jiraiya, which obviously doesn't help out too much in this fight, considering how we said.
Because of all we said about Sage Jiraiya,
yeah. So we're gonna be using War Arc Orochimaru now, excluding the Edo Tensei Hokage. Right? He's
that's just not fair.
Not fair at all. But he does now have Hashirama cells. He can use his 8-headed serpent jutsu. I mean, he could use that earlier, but still, he has 8-headed serpent jutsu, and the 8-headed serpent jutsu, let's just say like base Orochimaru is like Sage Jiraiya level, right? The 8-headed serpent jutsu, actually no, I kind of think Orochimaru in base is Sage Jiraiya level, because remember when they're fighting nerfed in the 3-way deadlock, and Orochimaru is like, well, even though we're in like our nerf states, it's still no contest for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of think base Orochimaru might be that Sage Jiraiya level. It really just depends on if you think Data Book 1 can include Sage Mode, even though it only includes information from up to chapter 119. I don't know, maybe like some foreshadowing or whatever, because Jiraiya is called the Toad Sage just upon introduction. Right, so I don't know, maybe it was always a idea of Kishimoto's, but Orochimaru then has the Hydra, and the Hydra just surpasses him itself. It's just stated it surpasses him. The most common counter to that would just be that Orochimaru gains a lot more mass whenever he enters the Hydra form, so maybe it's slower. I don't think that makes sense because, I mean, he gets all this power, but then he gets slower, so he can't hit the people he did before.
Yeah, he would just not use it. Yeah, like I know that I said earlier that power and speed don't always correlate in Naruto, but that's not necessarily the argument that Six is making here. He's just saying that it wouldn't be like practical to use the jutsu if it made him significantly slower, right?
Yeah, especially like a genius like Orochimaru. He's just not doing something like that.
Yeah.
So then you can maybe say that the Hydra surpasses Sage Jiraiya. But then we kind of get into weird territory, right? Where it's like, if the Hydra surpasses Sage Jiraiya, how do we scale it to Naruto?
Yeah, like, because Naruto also surpasses Sage Jiraiya.
Yeah.
So the thing about the Hydra is it might not still surpass Orochimaru in the War Arc because it's a different entity than him. Like, that's how the data book talks about it. At least in my opinion, it's a separate entity from him because like
I agree.
Like it couldn't surpass him if it was him.
Yeah.
So it has to be a different entity, and in the War Arc he might just be stronger than it, like when he absorbs all of like Kabuto stuff and gets the Hashirama cells. But like if we assume that this is just like Itachi pursue Orochimaru and he whips out the Hydra against Naruto. Yeah, it's like impossible to scale this to him because like it's not like the Hydra has any anti-feats aside from not being able to crack the Yata mirror with like that's nothing, and then like it gets one shot by the Totsuka blade. Like he's literally up against infinite attack and defense stats. So
yeah, the strongest in the verse.
Anyway, it's impossible to scale him using this. So he could maybe be like vaguely similar to, but I don't know. I feel like if he was strong enough to like go after Pain or like fight somebody who was able to fight Pain, he would have just done it even when he was sick, Like I don't know why he would just, hold this jutsu and never use it. It's like, oh man, I need to go steal a body.
Well, I mean, he's not, right? Because he lost to Itachi. He lost to weakened Itachi. And Itachi's not as strong as Pain.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could do something like that to say he's
because like Naruto also lost to Pain, but like I feel like the 8-headed serpent, or I feel like weakened Itachi is not getting through as many paths as Naruto did.
He's definitely not, bro. Like,
yeah,
there's just no way. But yeah, I mean, that's how Naruto handles them individually. But
well, so the thing is, we have to go back to War Arc Orochimaru because War Arc Orochimaru, like we said, might be stronger than this serpent, and actually probably should be stronger than Naruto, just because like I think it's like since he like absorbs all of Sage Kabuto's power, he should just be as strong as Sage Kabuto and then stronger.
Oh yeah.
So like he should probably be stronger than Pain Arc Sage Naruto, but then like if we bring out War Arc Sage Naruto, it's a completely different story because this guy's like just stopping Madara's like wood jutsu, fighting Kurama and like beating Kurama on top of that. I don't agree with this feat, but he does damage Ten Tails Obito. Obito's like massively mega ultra off guard and like tries to use Kamui but realizes he can't. So I don't know. You can interpret that feat however you want, but War Arc Sage Mode Naruto should be strong enough to fight Orochimaru without Zero Tensei summons.
Yeah, I mean,
Orochimaru is just a weird character to include here because it's like in part 1 he's ass based on that Jiraiya statement, and then in the War Arc he's overpowered, and then in between those 2 points he's just complete ass because he doesn't even have his arms. So.
Yeah, I mean, like the way Orochimaru, like so I say, War Arc Sage Mode Naruto is wiping the floor with it because I mean, he's throwing around mountainsides, Rasen shurikens and whatnot, even while weakened. So there's just no contest there. But like factoring Orochimaru into the team battle is weird.
Yeah.
Like, especially if we go with War Arc, because the Sannin have god tier teamwork. They're like the teamwork guys. People like to say that the Akatsuki, when working together, like, oh, you know, the whole teamwork though argument. The Sannin are like the embodiment of the teamwork.
Yeah, they all get 3 times more skilled, maybe not stronger. Their skills increase thrice-fold is what the data book says. So
yeah,
I'd interpret that as them just being 3 times stronger. I guess I get why you wouldn't. But I'm not talking about 6, by the way. I'm talking, when I say you, I mean the viewer. Yeah. Why one of you might not interpret it that way. I think that if we throw the like War Arc Sannin and I guess Pain fight Jiraiya at Naruto probably loses. Yeah. Even in the War Arc. If it's like triple strength, Will of Fire, Amp Tsunade, and like Orochimaru
doing combos.
Yeah, like, and then Jiraiya just being ass, like, but doing his best. Naruto probably can't keep up.
Like you got like Manda, Katsuyu.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Orochimaru never got Aoda or Aoba, whatever. What's the snake's name? Oba,
I think it's
Aoda?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Aoba's the guy who fought Kakazu.
Yeah, but yeah, right. He never got the other snake, but I mean he still has Manda, which can help out a lot. Obviously, there's Katsuyu, and then like with the 3 times amp, I mean it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say Naruto would win. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Unless he throws that big Rasen Shuriken and maybe they can't dodge it, which I could see the argument for, especially if they're closer range. I could definitely see the argument for that.
I think Orochimaru would be able to do his like snake skin thing, and maybe Tsunade would be able to like regenerate through it. Maybe. But those are both kind of like heads or tails. Jiraiya would get cooked by it.
Yeah, Jiraiya is dead. Jiraiya's dead.
Yeah.
Jiraiya's the only Sannin that we can't make an argument for no matter what. If we use War Arc or Pain Arc in Naruto, you just can't make an argument for him.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it would have to be like some weird like start of Shippuden Sage Naruto. Then Jiraiya would probably win.
Yeah, then maybe Jiraiya could pull out a dub, but...
Yeah, but any point where Naruto actually has Sage mode, it doesn't work. I think the most interesting matchup is if, like, you take tuning exams, Orochimaru, Sage Jiraiya from the Pain fight, and, like, Tsunade from the Pain arc, but, like, with her Byakugo. Mm-hmm. And, like, I think... Okay, so the best way to set up Tsunade here and like try and figure out a vague idea of how strong she is to like use like a meta argument that goes beyond the text of the series and talk about how Kishimoto wanted to have Tsunade fight Pain, but Shonen Jump pressured him to speed up Sage Naruto's appearance. I think it was in time for Christmas or something like that. There was a deadline he had to meet for Sage Naruto versus Pain, so he had to cut the Tsunade versus Pain fight. But the fact that they were going to fight at all means that Tsunade probably wasn't going to win, right? And I imagine that he wouldn't have had her nerfed during the fight. She probably would have still had her Byakugo and stuff. Like, nobody would have wanted to watch ass Tsunade versus Pain. So I think that, like, it also doesn't bode well for her that Kishimoto thought that Pain would fight her and still be in good enough shape
to fight Sage Naruto.
Yeah, to fight and beat Sage Naruto. Yeah, exactly. So Tsunade is probably not as strong in the Pain arc as she was in the Madara fight based on that. So I still think she's probably stronger than Sage Jiraiya though. Because Pain wasn't going to kill her like he killed Jiraiya, and she was going to be fighting all the paths, maybe just Tendo. Regardless, if it was all the paths or just Tendo, still would have been harder than what Jiraiya dealt with. And so I think that like in the Pain arc, Tsunade would be vaguely stronger than Jiraiya using this argument. Orochimaru would be equal to him, and then you would just throw them all on a team. At the worst, Tsunade should be comparable to Jiraiya. So it's like the least charitable you can be to the Sannin is to say that like you throw 3 Sage Jiraiyas at Naruto basically, but with like really good teamwork and roughly 3 times as strong. I honestly think that Sage Naruto could probably win that fight, but like if Tsunade or Orochimaru are like stronger than Jiraiya at all, I think it becomes more difficult for Naruto, but he could maybe probably do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's cool. I think like for the most part, like the initial battle we started off with those versions of the characters, it's a bit up in the air. Like not completely inconclusive, but it really depends on how you interpret certain scenes and statements. Which we mentioned earlier anyway. So I wouldn't say definitively a winner there. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Naruto, and then Naruto would lose to like the stronger versions of the Sannin, like the War Arc ones. And then I think War Arc Sage Naruto kind of almost no matter what would beat all 3 of the Sannin pretty easily. Like he's got the clones there. He's obviously got Kurama if he needs to turn that on. I just think that at that point it's kind of just unfair.
No, War Arc Sage Naruto is just like a different beast.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's it. If you want to mention anything else, you can go.
No. I just want to repeat again that Jiraiya is the most ass of them.
Yes. Jiraiya is the most ass.
Blatantly the weakest.
Weakest.
Yeah.
Way weaker than Sage Naruto. He'll never get up there. Way weaker than Pain.
Multiple tiers below Sage Naruto.
Multiple tiers below Sage Naruto. Multiple tiers below Pain.
Multiple tiers above Kakazu though. Like many tiers above Kakazu in Sage mode.
Weaker than post Pain arc Kakashi. I'll stop it.
Post Pain arc, I agree. I don't know about Pain arc.
Yeah. Pain arc, he would win. He would win. But yeah, I'll stop it there. Obviously, subscribe to Swag if you haven't.
Kage Sama Kakashi would probably beat Jiraiya.
Yeah. Come.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. As Six was saying, subscribe to me. Subscribe to Six though. Get him up to 100K fast, turbo speed, Sonic Frontier speed.
Bro, this video was 40 minutes. But yeah, other than that, have a nice day.